Welcome to this overview of the independent adjudication service provided by CEDR, the Centre for Effective Dispute Resolution. CEDR provides independent adjudication services for RICS regulated firms. In this video, we will give you an introduction to the service and the key information you need to know. But before we go into the specifics, here is a little bit about CEDR. CEDR helps individuals, teams and organisations achieve better outcomes from conflict. In the last 10 years, we have handled over 125,000 consumer resolutions, accredited over 10,000 mediators in 70 countries, and delivered over 50 dispute resolution schemes. Now, back to the independent adjudication service. We will cover the following in this video. What is alternative dispute resolution, commonly known as ADR? Why is it useful for firms and consumers alike? What is adjudication specifically? What is the independent adjudication service for RICS firms? What is default provider status? What is the role that CEDR plays, including the following? What can and cannot be adjudicated? How we adjudicate claims? How much the service costs? How long it takes for us to consider a complaint? And what happens at the end of the process. Detailed information on all of these topics and more can be found on the CEDR website at www.cedr.com/RICS and in the description below. So firstly, what is ADR? ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, is a catch-all term for processes used to resolve disputes between two or more parties that doesn't involve litigation. It includes mediation, conciliation, arbitration, and for the purposes of this service, adjudication. So why is ADR useful for firms and consumers alike? Well, pursuing legal action before a court is a stressful, time-intensive, and costly endeavour. Conversely, ADR processes are designed to be significantly cheaper and quicker than litigation. Too often, the cost of legal fees and the management time involved in a dispute far outweighs the value that is contested. ADR helps you avoid this and helps businesses and individuals move on to more productive and fruitful activities. What is adjudication? Adjudication is where a decision maker, called an adjudicator, weighs up the information provided by both parties to reach a written outcome on the dispute. The adjudicator will always be independent and impartial. To ensure this, CEDR's adjudicators have no direct contact with either of the parties and must refuse a case if any conflict of interest is identified. It is important to stress the whole process is done in writing. The adjudicator will consider any law, terms and conditions, codes of practice, and regulatory guidance that is relevant to the dispute. CEDR's adjudicators are all either legally qualified, surveyors, or engineers, and often deal with consumer disputes across a range of industries. Approved by the RICS, it is an independent adjudication service set up to resolve disputes between RICS regulated firms and their customers. The service is designed to resolve disputes that have reached deadlock or where 8 weeks have passed since a customer first raised their complaint. RICS has approved several ADR providers for its regulated firms to use. They have designated CEDR to be the default provider for surveying disputes, although firms can choose whichever approved provider works best for them. If you wish to use CEDR as your ADR provider, you will need to have CEDR listed in your Complaints Handling Procedure, CHP, signposting your customers to CEDR directly. I should say, for a full and detailed look at the specifics of the Independent Adjudication Service rules, please visit the CEDR website where you can access your own copy. What can be adjudicated by CEDR under this service? In order to bring a claim, the subject matter of the customer's complaint must fall within the scope of the service rules. These are set out in Rule 2.1. The service can only deal with complaints made about one or more surveying activities provided by the RICS regulated firm and/or the quality of the customer service provided. There are some cases the service cannot deal with. These can be because certain criteria haven't been met or because the type of dispute isn't covered. For example, a customer may have not waited 8 weeks from when they first complained before applying to the service, or the customer's complaint is about fraud or personal injury, which is not included under the service rules. For a full list, please consult Rule 2.2. It is important to note the service is free to use for customers. The RICS regulated firm that the complaint is about must cover the cost of the process in full. This is regardless of the case outcome. However, there is a reduced fee if complaints are settled between the parties before an adjudicator issues a decision. For information on the specific fees applicable, please contact CEDR. CEDR must provide an outcome within 90 days of receiving a complete case file, but in most cases the process takes about 65 days. What happens at the end of the process? Well, once a final decision is issued, the customer has 20 working days to either accept it in full or reject it. If the decision is rejected, the RICS regulated firm will be told and they won't need to do anything. In other words, the decision will have no effect and will not be binding on either party. Conversely, if the decision is accepted, the regulated firm will be told and the decision will become contractually binding. Any actions or remedies set out in the decision will need to be complied with within 20 working days. Thank you for watching this video and I hope you found it useful. Everything you need to know about the independent adjudication service can be found at www.cedr.com/RICS and you can contact CEDR directly at surveyors@cedr.com.